All right, what is going on, everybody? I wanted to share a little bit about the astrology and what's happening right now in the world. It's a lot. It's a lot of things happening in the world right now, and I wanted to put words to the energy that we're moving through. Astrology is really helpful in just understanding the times that we're in and what the planets are currently asking from us. To put words to what it is that we're feeling and to the intensity that's going on in the world. Obviously, I find this very helpful, or else I wouldn't be studying it and sharing it. So to speak to what's happening right now, I just want to kind of zoom out and set the stage of what's going on, what we have going on throughout this whole year, and even into last year, what's been building. So to start, I want to speak to the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that me and every other astrologer has said a million times, but we had Saturn and Pluto come together in January. They were exactly conjunct in January. But this is such a powerful conjunction. This is such a powerful aspect between two of the most malefic or just powerful, transformative, intense planets that we have to work with. And so this conjunction happens about every 35-ish years, and all throughout history, every time these planets come together, whether it's an exact conjunction or even an opposition, there's huge changes that happen in the world. Like, it was World War I, the abolition of slavery, it was 9/11. You can go back throughout history and see these world-changing, life-changing events that take place. And so that's what we're in the middle of right now. You know, we felt this energy last year, I would say, maybe to the middle towards the end of last year. I think a lot of us felt like something big was going to be happening, something was going to drastically change the way that we live our lives. And whether you were tapped into it or not, it doesn't really matter, but we can see that going on right now. We can see these two planets coming together. So Saturn, the planet of the government, of the structures that we follow, the rules that we work within, the boundaries that we live by, the patriarchy, Saturn is like the traditions, the ways that we've always done things. And Pluto's the planet of death and destruction and transformation and rebirth. And so Pluto wants to expose anything that is hidden, that's buried, that's dark, that's beneath the surface. Ultimately, Pluto wants us to transform. Pluto wants evolution at all costs. And that's not comfortable, right? Looking at the shadow material within ourselves individually, and then the collective shadow and the collective trauma and abuse and darkness, and this is all Pluto material. Abuse, sexual trauma, power plays, manipulation, pretty much all the darkness of the world would fall under that umbrella of Pluto, and also the Scorpio energy. They're here to bring it to the light, to work with it, to speak to it, to have a conversation about it, and to then let it be transformed, for it to go through a process of transmutation. But in order for that to take place, in order for the transformation, the transmutation to take place, we have to look at the darkness. We have to acknowledge it. We have to address it directly. And so we can see that going on right now in the world. We can see, the byproduct of these two planets coming together in January. And we're going to be dealing with this energy throughout the whole year. This whole year. I mean, it's going to take time to rebuild everything, to rebuild the structures, the foundation that society, that humanity rests upon, because it's all being torn down right now. It's all being exposed. It's all the darkness is being brought to the light. More awareness is spreading. People are waking up at a rapid rate because we really have no other choice at this point in time. And so Saturn, to just tie in some more of the astrology and to highlight the cycles that are coming to an end. Saturn stays in one sign for about 2.5 years, and Saturn has moved into Aquarius. It's currently retrograding back into Capricorn, but it's going to move back into Aquarius and then continue forward throughout, the 2.5 years in that Aquarian energy. And so with so many planets retrograde right now, we've got half of the planets retrograde. There's 4 planets currently retrograde. We're going to have Mercury retrograde, and we're going to have Mars go retrograde. So there's a fuck ton of planets that are retrograde this year. And retrogrades are a time of slowing down, of going inwards, of reviewing things, of reflecting on things. It's not a time of like jumping into things and making all these changes. Like right now we're reviewing, we're pausing, we're slowing down, and we're looking at all of these things on so many different levels that need to change, that need to transform. And so to come back to Saturn moving into Aquarius and out of the sign of Capricorn, with Saturn in Aquarius, first of all, Saturn loves to be in Capricorn and Aquarius. It rules both signs. And so again, Saturn, the planet of the rules that we follow, the structures, the foundation, the government structures, is shifting into Aquarius, which is a very different energy than Capricorn. Capricorn's very much, about the traditions and the rules and, doing things the way that they've always been done. And this is the right way to do it because some old white men probably made those rules. And Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian. Aquarius is the sign of revolution. It's the most rebellious energy in the zodiac. And so, Aquarius is also an air sign. It's very open-minded. It doesn't give a fuck what sexual orientation you are, who you choose to, what gender you choose to be, who you choose to have sex with. Aquarius is like, let your freak flag fly. It wants, equal rights really for everyone. Aquarius is the humanitarian, and so that's the time period. That's like what we're shifting into. Saturn has shifted into Aquarius already, but now it's retrograding back, so it's like still, one last kind of dip back into Capricorn to review all of this old, like outdated patriarchal shit that needs to be transformed. And then it's going to move into Aquarius, and it's about then building a new foundation that's actually for the people, that's supportive to the people, to humanity, to the humans that live here on Earth. So that is a cycle that is taking place. We also have the nodes that have moved out of Cancer and Capricorn. They're moving into Gemini and Sagittarius. So the nodes, this is the collective nodes of the moon, the north node and the south node, indicating, our collective, like the south node, where we're coming from, what we've done in the past, the energy that we're trying to kind of move away from. And the north node is like the direction that we're trying to lean into, that we're trying to embrace collectively. These are the collective transits in the sky. And so with the nodes shifting out of Cancer and Capricorn and into Gemini and Sagittarius, the north nodes moved into Gemini, and so this is the direction that we're trying to lean into. We're trying to move away from the south node in Sagittarius, which is all about dogmatic beliefs. Sagittarius is the spiritual seeker, and it is on a quest for information and for the ultimate truth, but every sign has a high road and a low road, right? And so the low road for Sagittarius is being very dogmatic, like this is the one way to do things, this is the right way, this is the what I've found to be the ultimate truth, and you must follow these rules too. And so we're moving away from that. We're moving away from like there's only one right way to be human. And in the North Node in Gemini, which is all about asking questions and keeping an open mind. And, Gemini's about gathering information, hearing different people's perspectives. Gemini doesn't really give a fuck like what the one ultimate truth is. Gemini just wants to gather information and to hear different perspectives and to have a conversation and to learn new things. It's a very open-minded, lighthearted, like playful energy. And so I think we can see that taking place in the world right now. Like there is so much information. There's so much different information, conflicting information, and it can be a bit overwhelming. Gemini, it can get information overload. It can take a toll on the nervous system because it's just gathering so much information it gets overwhelmed. So I think, you know, there's a balance with all of it. You know, a desire to keep an open mind and to gather new information and to be open to new possibilities, but also needing to understand when it's time to like pull the energy back inwards and kind of, you know, close down on taking any more new information in for the day. But that is that's about a 1.5 to 2 year cycle as well that we're moving into as the nodes change signs. So there's many different things, like there's many layers to astrology, right? There's many different things happening at the same time, many cycles that are closing out, and then new cycles that'll be beginning. So I just wanted to highlight a few of the different major cycles that we have going on right now. Thinking of if there's anything else I want to share. To just come back to some of the things that are retrograde. So we've got Venus retrograde, Venus, Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter. And so when planets are retrograde, it's a time of slowing down, it's a time of pausing, of reviewing, tying up loose ends, you know, tending to the topics that planetary energy represents. And so we've got 4 planets retrograde right now, one of them being Venus, the planet of our values, of relationships, of where we spend our time, our money, our energy, how we show up in relationship. So we're reviewing topics around relationships, around friendships, around our communication styles, around how we express ourselves, around what we find value in, where we spend our time and our energy. We've got Saturn retrograde, again, structures, the foundation, the government systems. We're reviewing, we're pausing, we're looking at all these things. It's being, you know, when planets are retrograde, it's like the energy of that planet, it's closer to Earth, it's louder, it's like more in our face. And so we can see these issues, these topics being brought up to the surface, really being put in our face, so that we must address them, we must look at them. And I think it's going to take some time, obviously, to rebuild the whole fucking system and to know, like, where to go next. I don't think we have, like, the clear answers of exactly what it's going to look like, because it's going to look like something completely new, something that we've never done before. It's the age of Aquarius. Like, nobody knows what the fuck it's going to look like, but we're going to figure it out as we go along, and it's going to be made by the people, for the people. It's going to, you know, the humanitarian energy. Okay, so Venus, Saturn, and then we've got Pluto retrograde and we've got Jupiter retrograde. So Pluto, the planet of the darkness, of our shadow self, of the shadow going on within the collective, the trauma, the abuse, the heaviness, the shit that's been buried that we don't want to look at, that nobody likes to look at or speak to, or we like to just, you know, push it over to the side and like, oh, love and light, it's gonna get better. But no, like, you have to actually look at it, you have to address it, and you have to do something about it. You can't just like push it off to the side. And this is very much just our culture in general. They don't like to talk about taboo things. They don't like to talk about death. They don't like to talk about things that are uncomfortable. And so that's what Pluto represents. Like, Pluto's going to continue to put it up in your face until you address it. So that's going on. Another thing that is going on, Jupiter being retrograde. Jupiter, the planet of our values, the planet of truth, of, you know, it's connected to the Sagittarius energy, which is all about what your beliefs are, the belief systems that we've been following, kitty here, the belief systems that we've been following, the values that we've held, like the truth that we've known, what we've known to be true. We're needing to slow down and to review and to reflect on what that means for us moving forward. So there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of different layers to what's happening right now. Again, we've got a bunch of planets retrograde. More planets are going to continue to go retrograde. We're working with the Saturn-Pluto conjunction, like them dancing together all throughout this year. Yeah, there's a lot of things happening. Change is taking place, but it's a process. And so I just wanted to kind of zoom way out and share a little bit about the bigger picture of what's going on. And hopefully putting words to what's happening can bring you some peace in this time. to better navigate through what this planetary energy is asking from us. So, okay, that's all. Thanks for being here.